Hello everyone, it's me MUFTi and welcome to another tennis blog and welcome to the final tennis blog here in my tennis court home behind me. I am moving house and so we are going to talk about in this final tennis blog in my house about Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal is one of tennis's greatest players, known for his fighting spirit, powerful shots and never give up attitude. With 22 Grand Slam titles, he has faced the toughest opponents and won some of the most exciting matches in history. Let's look at Nadal's most unforgettable battles where his courage and skill shone brightest. And so with the last tennis blog here in my own house, which you have actually been able to enjoy in the last few tennis blogs on MUFTiYT, let's carry on and see how we do. Let's start off with the year 2004 Davis Cup final, Nadal versus Roddick. At just 18, Rafael Nadal faced one of the biggest tests of his young career. In the 2004 Davis Cup final in Sevilla, he stood before 27,000 Spanish fans. Across the net was an Andy Roddick, the world number 2, who had beaten Nadal comfortably at the US Open just months earlier. Many questioned Spain's choice to pick Nadal over the more experienced Juan Carlos Ferrero, ex-coach of Carlos Alcaraz. After dropping the first set, doubts grew louder, but Nadal stayed composed. He raised his level, captured the second set, and saved a crucial set point in the third. From there, he seized control and closed out a memorable 6-7, 6-2, 7-6, 6-2 win. That night, Nadal proved he didn't panic under pressure, a first glimpse of the champion he would become. Next, we move to the year 2005 Rome final, Nadal versus Correa. Guillermo Correa was one of the best clay court players in the world, a Masters champion in Hamburg and Monte Carlo. Nadal had just beaten him a month earlier in Monte Carlo to claim his first Masters title. In Rome, the rematch turned into a brutal battle. At 18, Nadal looked unstoppable in the first and third sets, hitting with power and confidence. But his level dipped at times. He lost his forehand in the second set and struggled again in the fourth. By the final set, he trailed 0-3. The match seemed to be slipping away. Then came the turning point. Down games 0-3 and love 30, Nadal fired a forehand winner, held serve and found his rhythm. With renewed intensity, he broke back, pushed the set into a tie break and raced to 5-1. Correa fought back, but on Nadal's third match point, a missed volley ended the match. Nadal collapsed onto the clay, later calling it one of his toughest battles. It was proof not just of talent, but of a refusal to give in. Next, we move to the 2005 Madrid final, Nadal versus Ljubicic. The 2005 Madrid final looked over before it even started. Nadal was down 2 sets, facing one of the tour's biggest servers. On home soil in Madrid, after a season that included 10 titles, 7 on clay, and his first Grand Slam at Roland Garros, Nadal now faced Ivan Ljubicic. Ljubicic fired 32 aces and powered to a 2-set lead. Nadal was under immense pressure, but he didn't fold. Slowly, he clawed back into the match, turning defense into attack. Even when he fell behind the 5th set, he refused to give up. The final set went to a tie-break. Nadal stayed calm, and when Ljubicic pushed a forehand into the net, the comeback was complete. It was the first time Nadal had ever won a match after trailing by 2 sets, a defining moment in a career built on grit. Next, we turn to the year 2006 Rome final, Nadal versus Federer. Some rivalries define an era. By 2006, Nadal and Federer's rivalry had been simmering for 2 years after it boiled over in Rome. For 5 hours at the Foro Italico, it was a battle of wills. Federer came to the net 84 times, controlled rallies and held 2 match points at 4-1 in the 5th, but Nadal refused to let go. Federer's crucial errors allowed Nadal to claim the final 4 points in a tense 5th set tiebreak 6-7, 7-6, 6-4, 2-6, 7-6. With the win, Nadal tied Bjorn Borg's record for titles as a teenager and extended his clay streak to 53 wins, matching Vilas's all-time record. It was a match that showed exactly why Nadal was becoming one of the most tennis's toughest competitors. Next, we turn to the world-known 2008 Wimbledon final, Nadal versus Federer. Some matches aren't just about tennis, they're about history. After 2 previous Wimbledon defeats to Federer, Nadal adapted. He moved closer to the baseline, attacking his serve, and took bigger risks on ground strokes. He won the first 2 sets. Federer fought back, and 3 rain delays turned the drama almost unbearable. The first set was a battle of nerves. At 7-all, Nadal broke Federer's serve. Later down, love 15 at 8-7. He dared a serve and volley, pulling off 2 perfect volleys and a framed backhand to win his 3rd match point. When Federer's forehand hit the net, Nadal collapsed to the ground, tears in his eyes. 4 hours and 48 minutes later, Nadal claimed his first grass court major, ending Federer's 5-year reign at Wimbledon. Next we turn to the year 2009, the Australian Open semi-final, Nadal versus Verdasco. On 29th of January 2009, Nadal faced countryman Fernando Verdasco in a marathon semi-final. 5 hours and 14 minutes of relentless tennis ended 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 6-7, 6-4. With Rod Laver watching and Spanish flags waving, Nadal's defense was tested like never before. Verdasco hit 95 winners, yet Nadal stayed focused, committing fewer than 10 unforced errors per set, only 4 in the 5th. When the final point ended, Nadal collapsed to his knees, exhausted but victorious, advancing to the final where he would defeat Federer in another epic 5-set battle. Right, let's move on to the 2009 Madrid semi-final, Nadal versus Djokovic. Under the bright Spanish sun, Nadal faced Djokovic in a 4-hour clay court battle. Djokovic took the first set and led 3-1 in the decider, threatening Nadal's momentum. But Nadal turned it around, firing his trademark forehand and trading long rallies. In the tie-break, he saved 3 match points, 2 with stunning winners, 1 with Djokovic's error to seal a 3-6, 7-6, 7-6 victory. It was endurance, skill and mental toughness in its purest form. Right, now we turn to the 2012 Australian Open final, Djokovic versus Nadal. The 2012 Australian Open final lasted 5 hours and 53 minutes, the longest Grand Slam final ever. Djokovic had beaten Nadal in the previous 2 slams and led their head-to-head. Nadal fought back from 3-5 in the 4th set tie-break to force a decider. He led 4-2 in the 5th, but Djokovic's clever volleys shifted momentum. Djokovic broke Nadal, winning 4 of the next 5 games to claim 5-7, 6-4, 6-2, 6-7, 7-5. Though Nadal fell short, it was a battle of stamina, nerves and relentless will. Right, now we turn to the 2013 Roland Garros semi-final, Nadal versus Djokovic. On a scorching day in Paris, Nadal faced Djokovic in another clay classic. The 4-hour 37-minute marathon tested every ounce of stamina and skill. Djokovic led in the 5th, 4-2, but Nadal seized a crucial moment, breaking back at 4-3 and refused to give an inch. He finally closed it out 6-3, 3-6, 6-1, 6-7, 9-7. Nadal went on to beat Federer for his 8th French Open title, cementing the legend of his clay dominance, where I was actually present for that final. It was a good match. Now we move on to the 2022 Australian Open final between Nadal versus Medvedev. In Melbourne, Nadal faced Daniil Medvedev in a comeback for the ages. Medvedev raced to a 2-set lead at games 2-3, love 40. Nadal looked on the brink of defeat, but he refused to quit. A dropped Medvedev shot gave him a lifeline. Nadal held serve, took the 3rd and 4th sets, and finally closed the 5th 2-6, 6-7, 6-4, 6-4, 7-5. With his 21st Grand Slam, Nadal took the lead in the all-time majors race, proving once again why he is one of the sport's fiercest competitors. Right everyone, that brings an end to this tennis blog. I really hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe to MUFTiiYT Tennis. This will obviously be the last one here in my home tennis court, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace and take care. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video, and of course to the channel MUFTiiYT Tennis, and of course join me in the next tennis blog, which will be in another tennis court somewhere else for another player, or of course about the Australian Open 2026. See you then.